No, you don't need a CS degree to become a software engineer. That is the quick response. But whenever people ask me, Maria, is it necessary? Do companies require the applicant to have a software engineer degree, a CS degree, or some kind of formal education? Whenever this question gets asked, there are two ways for you to interpret it. First is, do I need a CS degree to become a software engineer? That means to learn how to code, to understand how to deal with data, to understand algorithms. And the other way that you can interpret this question is, do I need a CS degree to get a job as a software engineer? So the answer to the first question, like I said in the beginning of the video, is more straightforward. For you to learn how to program, no, you don't need a software engineering degree. And in fact, software engineer is a field that most people don't have a degree. So having said that, is it completely worthless that you spend 3-5 years of your life taking a course? As all questions in life, the answer is, it really depends. And I know that's not what you want to hear, because the quick and easy answer is no, because there are people who have software engineer jobs and they don't have a degree. Me, for example. But this answer is not enough, because is it possible that someone can become a millionaire? Yes, it is possible, right? There are people in the world who are millionaires, but how hard is it to become a millionaire? So how hard is it to become a software engineer and to get a job in tech without having a degree? Having no degree as a software engineer is going to make it harder for you to get a job, because it will only depend on you. However, at the same time, having a degree will not confirm that you will have a job until the end of your days. So answering the first question, do I need a software engineer degree to learn how to program? No, you don't. But, and let me be the advocate of the devil here, some software engineers, some self-taught software engineers don't have the coding basics. Most of them don't have computer science fundamentals, which is, when it or not, a topic that you learn at school. Let me ask you something. If you are not a software engineer and you want to become a software engineer, what is the first thing you're going to do? What is the first thing you're going to learn? A lot of people probably will search what programming language to start. And Python, is it JavaScript? What programming language do I start to start learning how to program? And that's not the right question. It's not exactly the first language. The language is a step that is going to come after. After what? After you learn data structures, after you learn programming logic, you learn how an if works, you learn how a switch works, you learn how to make conditionals, and all of these things you can learn by yourself. But it's harder for you to learn something if you don't know what you should learn. And the school, the college, that's what it is. It shows you the path for you to get the knowledge, because honestly, most colleges fail in actually teaching you what you need to know, but they give you like the path, what you need to know. There is this exists and you need to learn that. This exists in software engineering, in the computer science field, and you need to learn this. But they fail in actually teaching you how to do it. So want it or not, even if you go to a college, you will learn by yourself. You cannot rely only on the subjects taught by your teacher, by your professor, or whatever. And being a software engineer itself is a self-taught profession, because you're going to finish your degree, and what? New technologies will come up. You will have to learn them by yourself. You will have to learn how to learn. So the first answer is here. Do you need a software engineer degree to learn how to program? No, but in college, they will probably teach you things that by yourself, you wouldn't be able to find out that you have to learn these things. So if you want to be a self-taught software engineer, you have to work hard. Not that if you go to a college you don't have to work hard, but you have to work even harder if you are self-taught, because you need to discover, you need to find out, and you need to go after what you need to learn. So that's my opinion, of course, because There's a saying in Portuguese that is cagar regras, or caga regras, which means someone who just talks like they own the truth. And I don't own the truth. I'm not the truth owner here. That is a discussion that a lot of people talk. So you can leave here in the comments if your opinion is different of mine. So we can all discuss this in a specific way. And the second way this question can be interpreted is whether you need a CS degree to get a job. This question comes with an even bigger depends. Why? And what does it depend on? First, it depends on the country you're in. For example, I live in Portugal, and there is still this stigma that, college and having a degree will get you somewhere, which may be true for some professions, but as we have already seen, most software engineers don't have a degree and they're very well successful, thank you. But still, some companies will see you in a different way if you have the paper. So probably it will be easier for you to get an interview and eventually get the job. But one thing that I can take from the several interviews I have taken, and I have been to maybe hundreds of interviews, they didn't really ask me about my degree at all. And I just want to make something clear here. I did go to college, but I never finished it. I know you guys asked me a lot of this, we're into college and stuff, so I went, but I never finished it, personal reasons. Maybe I will finish someday because, why not? But most companies that I have interviewed with didn't care. They didn't care that I was in college or I was going to college, or because the experience is way more valued. And you can say, oh, but if you are competing against someone who has a degree and you don't have a degree, it's probably like that they will choose someone who has a degree. But if you have experience and you're competing against someone who only has a degree, you tell me, what would you rather choose? If you had to choose someone for your own company, would you rather have someone who just went to college and got a CS degree, or someone who actually has experience in the field? And this doesn't have to be like a fight, whoever is better, who has a degree or not. It's just a matter of how things are. If you have experience, you already know how to deal with the technology, you already know how to work with people, because that is very important as well, your social and soft skills. If you have already been in a job, that is going to count more. So having a CS degree to get a job in software engineer will depend on the company you are applying. In the job description, it may say that you may need to have a CS degree, but when you actually go to the interview, they just don't need to know that. They just don't want to know that. And they ask, of course, about your experience and stuff. So as I said, I don't have a CS degree, but I cannot be hypocrite and say that the time that I go to college, it didn't help me, because I had great professors, and even though most of them weren't great and I didn't learn a thing, I learned what I need to learn. There were subjects that maybe if I studied by myself, I wouldn't have thought of learning these subjects that are indeed very important. And of course, it's very easy for me to come here and say, look, I don't have a degree and I got a software engineer job, so you can do it too. Because honestly, I think most of my job search and job interviews, of course, I earn it, right? But it's sometimes pure luck as well. It is. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it just got referred by a friend who's well seen in the company. Sometimes for that position in specific, they weren't looking for someone who had a software engineer degree. They just wanted someone who was eager to learn or stuff like that. So no, I'm not going to say that because I don't have one, it could happen to you too, because I have friends who have a CS degree and they aren't managing to get a job. And I have friends who don't have a CS degree and they aren't managing to get a job as well, because the times we're living in, it's pretty hard for a junior to start and get a job, whether you have a software engineer degree or not. So what I can say is focus on your experience. Focus on developing projects, on getting to know technologies, and as I always say on the channel, and you're probably tired of hearing me saying this, focus on the basics. Learn the basics well so you can then advance to more complex computer science subjects. So I hope I gave you guys some input regarding this topic. It's really like nothing's black and white. I can't come here and say, no, you don't need a software engineer degree and you can live happily ever after, because you never know when you're going to need it. But in the other hand, having a software engineer degree is not going to guarantee you anything, especially in those days.